Hello and welcome to this Warno 1v1 game played on Omen Duel between PERORO Sama playing as 8th US and he's going up against MrBoxHead playing as Berlin Command. So we'll go through the deck reviews, then we'll talk about the map, the matchup, the deployments and the game, and as always timestamps in the description. So I recently did another Berlin Command game on the channel, and this is Swad Jealous Gunter, and he's like basically the best Berlin Command player in the world. Pasta might be slightly better than him now, because Swad Jealous Gunter mainly plays Rugener now. Pasta's still playing Berlin Command. Anyway, it's worth checking out. So yeah, this is the deck review for Berlin Command. And I think it has been inspired by that video, basically, which is why I brought it up. So I basically agree with most of the things that are here. So it's going to be a short conversation. Yeah, so 2 cards of supply, 7 CVs, which is normal. We'll just go through it tab by tab, right? So in terms of the supply, yeah, this is the better truck because it's French. It's like the American truck, except it goes faster and has 3 more HP for the same price. French moment. And then, yeah, the Bedford holds a bit more, so I guess that's why he's got that. Although, admittedly, this still has 8 HP and this has 5, so okay, whatever. Yeah, Rover. He's gone for the Rover over the French one, which is good of him. But if you want to hyper min-max, the French one has more autonomy, because... Well, yeah, that's weird, isn't it? It holds less fuel, but it goes further, so it's just got better fuel economy, basically, and it costs the same. So if you want to autistically min-max, you should get the French one. And, yeah, this is 2 per card for 40 points, so I prefer it over like this, for example, because you can buy 2 of these for the price of this. So you buy this at the start. There's a 1-point slots, which is why he's not got an imp CV. I am flamethrower pilled now, but engineers flash beat flamethrowers. Engineers flash do beat flamethrowers, so you want that instead. And you can bring it at 1 vet. Just as long as you're paying attention to it, fire the flash and run off. It does beat the flamethrower. But all of them are kind of viable. The issue with the satchels here is that they can't be upvetted, so they suck. And it's the same thing in second UK, I just don't bring them, because what's the point? They can't be upvetted, so they just immediately lose their cohesion. It takes them 7 minutes to get it back on no vet. So MP patrol, but not the ones with the recoilless rifles, because you don't actually get those, okay. But why has he brought this? Because, oh, for the RAF Berlin. Honestly, mate, I wouldn't bother. I wouldn't bother, because why not just get these guys, right, and just have a unit that actually kills people? Admittedly, it does cost more, but then you don't have to bring this, and then you can do the double ATGM strat, right, for holding 2 ATGM cards and down vet that, right? That's very powerful. And then, yeah, I mean, so this has got the militia tag, but not the reservist tag, and this has a reservist tag. But it's just, you can bring it if you want. There's just not much point, because they just die. I appreciate it's like, well, I've got that bug, but you can bring it if you want, but you can't vet them, and like if it was the instructor trait which upvets it as well, then it'd be worth it. But I don't know. It tends to be that the guys who play Berlin Command the most don't bring this, because they'd rather just bring this unit in the VAB. And, you know, it's 10 guys for 60 points, so you don't get that economy of men. But this is kind of your economy of men, 15 points for 4 blokes, right? Whereas this is 40 for 12. Okay, I suppose this is better economy. You can bring it if you want, but, like, just try it without and see how you get on, because this is a nice squad. The alternative... these guys have a DMR, so you want those for sure. Like, this squad is actually better than this. I've got... That bug is really doing my head in. I'm going to have to restart the game, I think. Right, so we're so back, as they say. So yeah, this beats that, but this is a nice transport. Because of the 50 cal, you can just send it around the sides and annoy people. It's a lot of fun, so... Honestly, just try it without this and see how you get on. Maybe you prefer having it, but it's worth a try. Also, the AT is better, right? And then, yeah, 2 cards recoilless rifle is core. You definitely need that. Card of Law 80s, at least 1 is core. You definitely want the card of Law 80s. And then, yeah, this strikes me as a really good squad because of the triple attack there. Flash and, yeah, this I down-vetted, right? I think it's better down-vetted. You can bring whichever one you want, depending on which nation you are. They are all the same. Although, the Humvee goes at 75, 100, and the Rover goes at 90, 100, and the P4 goes at 90, 100. So you've actually picked the worst one. The advantage of the Humvee is it's got a bit more HP. You can bring them in Hueys, which is pretty funny, actually. Maybe there's a strat with that, where you can just spam a bunch of Hueys. It's actually worth thinking about. It's worth thinking about. So yeah, either, you know, try it with the Hueys, right? Or put it in the Rover or the P4, because they go faster. The Humvee goes slower. It's got more HP, but it goes slower. You don't need the HP, really. You need it to get there quickly, so... Yeah, interesting. Huey spam? Because, I mean, they're slow, but they've got 2 guns on them. And they're 35 pies. You know, that's not a bad idea. It does weaken your opener, because you can't buy, like, a bunch of them by this. It'll get there faster. Yeah, I would try that. I would try that. I would be great to 2-vet this and get another one with that being a 1-point slot, but we don't have 1 point, so... And then, yeah, okay, so this is all fairly standard. P4 Milan instead of Rover Milan, because it's better on the fuel economy for whatever reason. Chieftain, Meep, CEV, 1 vet CEV, yeah. This thing's really good against infantry. And, I mean, given that I've just given you a Milan 1, do you need this? Maybe you do. This thing's really good against infantry. Recon, 2-point slots, okay. Do you need this much recon? It's a lot of recon. You might want to consider, right, swapping this out for the sniper. This thing's pretty funny, because it's got good optics, good stealth, and it's like mega fast. But, yeah, you might want to consider the sniper. So you've got a little bit of airborne forward deployment, because these are all recon deployed, right? Alternatively, you could just get rid of it, and because you got plenty of infantry recon, and then you could upvet this and bring 2 of those, right? Stinger, Minstrel, Rapier, PIVADS, yeah, that's all good. You could, if you wanted, 2-vet this. It's the 20% that makes it good, and now you've got that for anti-infantry, you know, with those 2 points you saved, but... Oh, yeah, you need the Gazelle rockets. You need those. What if you get a backline breakthrough? What are you going to do? Buy a 260-point Nighthawk? You need this. This is very useful. Yeah, you have to bring this even though it's crap. The HE over the rocket, so this will really mess up, like, it can one-shot 2 armor tanks from what I remember. So at the start of the game it can be pretty useful. And it reloads in the same time as this, and it's just kind of better, because this has smaller bombs, and admittedly it's cluster, but this will struggle against a 3 top armor tank, and so will this, so... But yeah, the idea behind this is it messes up infantry, but it's less good against vehicles, so I understand. And then, yeah, 2 Nighthawks and the Seed. And that's just, you just gotta do it, and eventually the Nighthawks will die, unless your enemy's a moron. But that's just the deck. The idea is hopefully you kill enough things with this before it dies. His opponent, PERORO Sama, is playing 8th US. Some good, some bad in here. So... First things first, like the 50 cal instead of the MAG, I mean, I have lost a game to somebody who brought the 50 cal, but the MAGs are half the price. It's just this can shoot vehicles, but I prefer the MAG. And yeah, we got the flash in there. He doesn't have enough infantry in here, really. You don't need 6 Eyehawks. Just, if you're losing your Eyehawks, just play better. Just move them after they shoot. You don't need 6. Because otherwise, basically, you've just spent 130 times 6, you know, points on... I'm going to have to get a calculator out. I'm retarded now, sorry. I used to be smart, but 780 points, also known as 3 minutes income exactly, just on IHOG. So if he's killing them all, like, you're probably going to lose anyway. And then with those 3 AP... yeah, I wouldn't do that, mate. Nah, So you want the M60s for the start of the game, really good at the start of the game, one of the most cost-effective tanks in the game. And then you want the CEV for your anti-infantry, and you can one-vet it or no-vet it, it's up to you, depending on how many of them you want. And then if you're like, well, I need more ATGMs, we move to the Recon tab, you should have this. Because at the start you can just put those out all over the place. Very useful piece of kit. This one instead of this one, yeah, you could do a funny opening where you just open with this and a jet and you just kill everything. In terms of the seed, what is the point of the seed? The point of the seed is to protect bombers. You don't have any bombers, so what's the point in the seed? You'd be better off just getting something like this as like a panic bomber, right? If you had the cheaper one of these, the regular scout, then you could bring the A10. The A10's also pretty good against, like, if the enemy does an armored breakthrough, right? But this one is a bit more offensive. It's got 30% ECM, so it might make it, basically. This thing is a flying brick, and so you can really only use it when you're out of range of the enemy AA. But yeah, I'd probably go for the cluster in this case, given your stacked tank tab, draining all your AP. That's a 2-pointer. Mortars for smoke, 2 of these, that's all good. Infantry, Fireteam 84 card for cheap stuff. This needs to be at 1 vet, this should be at 1 vet. You don't have enough infantry. You don't have enough infantry, so 2, 5, 7 CVs. You do not have enough infantry here, so get rid of a card of hogs. Yeah, I mean, you just don't have enough infantry, man. Like, where's all the infantry? So, like, this is kind of your line infantry, right? And given your lack of infantry, I'd be tempted to sack this off. Because, like, this is your flank protection, 35 points, AT, 4, 6 blokes, but I don't think you can afford that, because you just don't have much infantry. I suppose you've got a lot more now that I've given you some. If you find you're still running out, basically you'd want to swap this out. It's happened again. I wish they could fix this. Yeah. You could bring the Mech Rifles Law or another card of Mech Rifles Dragon. If you find you're running out of infantry still. In terms of the CV, 6 guys, AT Smoke. 6 guys, AT Smoke, and 25 points cheaper. And the AT is... I mean, this can shoot at infantry. I get it, right? It's the Rangers leader with the sniper rifle. Okay, it can be cool. It can be cool. Also, it's Special Forces, so it actually runs faster. That's interesting. Huh, I never realised that. Okay, so at 1 vet, Special Forces don't run faster. I thought it'd be 10% here, but whatever. Yeah. 3 cards of supply makes sense when you got these firing all game and a bunch of tanks, and it's a grindy div. So that's it for the deck reviews. Let's cast the game. Right, so with that out of the way, in terms of the divisions, you'd expect 8th to win this. It's just kind of a better version of this division. It's got a little bit of airborne forward deployment, which his opponent doesn't get, and it's got better AA, better fighters, better tanks. The infantry, these guys get the better infantry, gets better artillery, and yeah, I think that's about it. I might have forgotten something. So yeah, I mean, what more is there to say? The map's symmetrical. I prefer the blue side because your airborne forward deployment gets to here, and then you can basically just see the whole zone. Whereas if you're on the red side, your airborne forward deployment gets to, you know, here, and well, you can't see anything. So, and on the blue side, you get this nice building which lets you shoot all this. Having said that, the red side gets a better time in Golf versus Delta, because if the red side gets to, you know, if you've got this, then you basically get this for free. And if you've got this, well then, you know, you get in here and can see everything and can move up here and shoot the whole thing. On the blue side, because of this, it's kind of in the way, and so red can still reinforce with the roads, the way the roads work. So, yeah, red has a better time in on the sides, and blue has a better time in mid. It's amazing what these small differences can make, because it is supposed to be a symmetrical map, but it's got some slight asymmetries, and it does affect how it plays. Anyway, looking at the deployments, we got PERORO. He's not using his airborne forward deployment to take the middle, so, okay. I mean, this should really be going there. And then Scouts, Bradley. He doesn't bring the cheap toes, the 40 pointers, which you just want like one there, you know, one here, one there, that sort of thing. We got another LRS going to here. It's just way too conservative a deployment. I get the impression he does not actually understand what's in Berlin Command. Now, having said that, if his opponent had opened with all the Gazelle rockets, well then you'd have to unload early, wouldn't you? So maybe that makes sense. And then we've got an Engineer's Flash and a Rangers for the left. And supply... 50 cal, 50 cal. I'm not a big fan of the 50 cals, but since the MMG nerfs, they can't, you know, they're not just like a I throw option anymore. Stinger, Eyehawk, which is not going to where the supply is, and CV for just Hotel, so he's missing out Foxtrot and Golf. It's going to be one of those games. I've got a Bradley covering this for 120 points instead of the 240 pointers. Spoke about this LRS. 84 Ito, and yeah, that's his only CV, and he's just not capping half the points on the map. Switching to his opponent, we've got a Berlin Command, so let's have a look. So yeah, he's gone for the 40-point CVs. One is going to Alpha Charlie Bravo, and one is going Echo Delta. There is like a road here you can put it on, which I think would... Well, maybe it wouldn't, actually. Maybe this is faster. Because... if you back here, you got to do all these turns, whereas this is quite straight. Interesting. So we got some eclairs for the left, sec for the middle, and this transport, when stood still, gets a very good optics, so it's actually not a bad piece of kit. The gun on it's kind of crap, but eclairs. So he's actually, so if the enemy LRS had rushed this, these eclairs would die, but he hasn't actually done it. Pissy B. I mean, these are the close-range fighters, so these should be in the mid, and the eclairs should be on the side, right? Because you want these guys in the mid so they can, you know, kill the infantry, basically, if that makes sense. And you'll notice the eclair AT is should be slightly longer range, yeah. So that helps more with, you know, this kind of situation and this kind of situation. And yeah, big blob of stuff. Logi, MAG, the Berlin guys. I'm not a big fan, but spoke about the MAG, Stinger, the church it can see further, right? Yeah, the light rifles are should dominate in mid, and you do need a supply for them because they just immediately burn through the M67, which shoots at infantry. And then you need some more. Milan 2, I mean, it can't see anything there, right? So, basically you want... So one of your recon should go here. Although the LRS should beat you there, but he's not doing that, so maybe not. Anyway, you can put an ATGM there. Or, like, yeah, you can put the infantry one in here if you want, and then you can just move the vehicle one to here. And then it can shoot down that road. Milan 2 for here. P4 Milan for... over here, but you've already got somebody going there, so what's the point? CV and the CV. And then on the right we got a RAF Berlin, Pissy B, and the CV. But yeah, basically the way the 8th player should be opening is, you know, LRS to here, LRS to here, LRS to here, whatever, just put it there. And, LRS to here. Oh, actually, no, here's better. That way. Yeah, but then this guy should be opening with the Gazelle rockets, which would counter that. And he should have like a Harrier and the Gazelle rockets, and then he could just blow up the enemy forward deployment and come back, because this guy doesn't have forward deployed AA, at which point he'd have to buy an F-16. So there's kind of this, especially at the highest level, there's like, what's he going to do? And then preemptively countering and preemptively countering the counter, and it leads to situations where, you know, one guy opens 2 ASFs because he thinks, oh man, I'm going to get mega heli rushed, and, you know, he'll buy his own ASF and I have to beat that, and the other guy just doesn't open any helicopters and just wins because 1/3 of the enemy's deployment are in fighters that aren't doing anything. So let's cast the game. Right, so they're off, and it's time for me to thank the generous channel joiners. Generously joiner in the channel, they get their names on the screen, they get the videos early, they get members exclusive videos. One join at the lowest levels worth 2,000 views. They also get a Steam key for my game, Hearst Hero. I'm going to have a public demo, which should hopefully come out on the 9th of March. But yeah, if you want to help out for free, just wishlist my game. That'd really help me out. It's free, right? And it'll tell you when the demo goes live. So if you're opening double Harrier, then you should be opening helicopters, because you've got the air cover for your helicopters. So Lynx Hellam Bear at the start, right? And you would kill off all the enemy forward deployment until the AA gets there, right? Or, you know, a couple Gazelle rockets, but like the Lynx Hellam in mid-strat is really not that bad. So, because otherwise you've opened the Harriers and you've not so you've opened them because you think the enemy's probably going to open A10, you know, Recon Helo A10 F-16 or something, which he can do, right? But as a result of opening these are now just a waste of points. Admittedly, it's only 220 for both of them, but 165 point Helo would now be defended by these, and it would snipe a couple of these guys. Obviously, once the Stinger gets there, you gotta land, right? And you can, if you're feeling really cheeky, just land looking down the road. Although the buildings bend here, so you'd have to land there, facing that way, and it can still shoot. It's pretty silly, but that's the way it works. And then the Stinger can't shoot it, but a tank can just one-shot it, because it's now a ground target, So, yeah, I mean, the RAF Berlin, I don't know. The top Berlin command players, there are 2 of them. They don't tend to bring that. So you've taken this, great. Now the Milan 2 needs to get in there. Actually, you've just taken all of mid because your opponent, for whatever reason, who knows. Now he's sending out an F-16 for no particular reason. So you need to double click him with both Harriers, otherwise, because he outranges you, right? Oh, okay, well that's bad micro. So you just need to fly right into him. The issue, of course, is the iHawk one-shots you, so you can't go too far. And like the F-16, if he's using his brain, he can just get to here, sling that Sparrow at you, turn around, get to here, sling that. But if he was using his brain, he wouldn't have bought this, because there's nothing to kill except from 2 enemy ASFs. Why do you need to kill the enemy ASFs? What's their role? But, well, I suppose it makes sense to have... Actually, no, I think he's been very smart. I take it all back. So the advantage with the F-16 is that if the guy buys a Nighthawk, you can kill it with the F-16. So against Berlin Command, you basically always want a fighter up. Always. Because the AA doesn't see the F-16. You need to fly a fighter right into it so the AA can actually engage it. So it makes sense to do that. And so, like, that'll stay up for 4 minutes. So actually, he's outsmarted me there. Could have outsmarted me even more if he'd swapped this out for the 40-point CV instead of the 80-point one. I think I forgot to mention that in the deck review. And then he could just have 2 40-pointers taking everything. Wouldn't need to buy a 240-point M1 CV. And yeah, the CV doesn't get smoked, so you got to be careful. You want to break LOS, really. He's basically picked the worst direction to go in. He should have tried to get behind this building or this building, but he went just straight back, which allows him to continue to shoot at him. Although he just kind of messed up by just driving away, but it is what it is. So we got the double tanks, and I suppose that's another reason for the F-16, to protect the tanks from the Nighthawk. So that's all good. Recon in front, yeah. The double heavy tank opener is taking the ladder by storm, especially on maps like this. As long as you secure your sides, I mean, the counter to it is to basically just push the sides, because if they've opened double heavy tanks. But it's good, because there are people in the community who are like, oh, heavy tanks are useless. And then whenever you give them evidence to the contrary, they're like, oh, no, it's not because of that, it's because of something else. So, well, I suppose it's pointless, really, to try and convince them. But yeah, the seed in the deck, in the 8th deck, doesn't really make any sense, because he doesn't have any bombers. So there's absolutely no point in bringing that seed. What's it for? It's also the worst, one of the worst seeds in the game, because the Shrike has 4,400 meters range, and the Eyehawk has 5,600, and the Cub is, you know, similar. These things, they happen. Anyway, the Wrath Berlin should just immediately get messed up. Basically, if you're going to bring these, you need to, because he's got the police, military police in the deck. And he's put those in the deck to put them next to the Wrath Berlin. Here, he's not done that. And so it's just more trouble than it's worth, because you basically have to bring 2 cards to make them useful, and then they're still 0 vet. It's better to just bring another card of regular infantry, in my opinion. And if you need kind of width, right, I need cheap infantry, well, that's fine. Buy the MAG teams and put them everywhere. That's your cheap infantry. But yeah, the idea behind the Wrath Berlin and similar squads is that they go in just in front and they just tank with their face, and then you've got a bunch of armor behind that just, you know, so basically this chieftain should have been there piling on the hate, or better yet, it should have been a CEV. So yeah, both sides get stingers. There's a reasonable amount of overlap between these divisions, right? Both sides get engineer flash. Don't think he gets high toes. He might do. Berlin Command. Because, yeah, Berlin Command is, you know, the forces defending West Berlin. So it's like, it's classed as a British division for basically no reason. How many British divisions do you see on your screen? How many British units do you see on your screen? The answer is 1. There's a rapier here. Everything else here is not British, so... And then they say, see, well, Britain's got 8 divisions because of Berlin Command and MBAD, and it's like, oh my god. The power of propaganda and media manipulation. That's why I started my own YouTube channel, you know, to get the truth out there. I'm a journalist. I have journalistic integrity. I'm an integrity journalist. I always get a good laugh out of that. Anyway, so yeah, the CEV would be useful here, right? And the AMX-30B is really nice to have as Berlin Command, but you got to make a lot of sacrifices to bring that. So you'd have to sacrifice like the Rover Milan, basically, which I think is okay to get the AMX-30B because, well, to be honest, the AMX-30B and the CEV fulfill similar roles, which is anti-infantry tank thing. But the AMX-30B does less damage. It does less alpha damage. So M110, very powerful. He wants to put that CV next to it because it's not doing anything. You just click it, Shift F, click on this, or just follow it around and give it that. And you want to be moving between shots. No, like you should have, like, because he's shift queued up a move order, but no, you should move now because he's just fired. So he's still reloading, so it doesn't cost you anything. Oh, he's doing it. This is great. It's good to see these things catching on. Maybe he watches hippie YouTube videos. At the highest tier, you get your games cast at a rate of 1 per calendar month. So if you beat somebody you don't like, it's a great way to... We've had things like that on the channel. Where both parties have taken out a tier 4 membership to cast the game of them beating the other guy. I love it, obviously. Works great for me. So we got some mortars for smoke, which is cool, right? And they're self-propelled, so you can queue up the move on those as well. And, like, you know, you should be sending this over, because it's going to take ages to get there. So he's going for the LRS, which is sensible. Well, you don't need to arty that anymore. So he switches. But now what it's going to do is it's going to fire 2. If you give it 1 order, it's going to fire 2. And then it's going to sit there and reload for the whole thing, and then fire a whole nother salvo. Because it has to complete the salvo. And it's really dumb, but that's the way it is. you don't want to give it an unload order on the forest, because it'll go on the forest, right? And then it'll be like, oh, can't land there, mate. And then it'll divert a little bit. Admittedly, you had it right on the edge, so I guess it doesn't matter in that case. Now you want to use the... You want to use this Blackhawk? Yes. See, it's using the Blackhawk because, like, look, you can... there's no AA here, which is, you know, a big failing of this composition. There should be, at the very least, a PIVADS, because you can move it around a bit. But yeah, like a Stinger or a Minstrel. And, yeah, the Blackhawk can just sort of... And so he's like, oh, there's no AA here. So Blackhawk's tanking, which is great. And now he can send in the regular Hog, and the regular Hog should just be able to kill all this. It depends, because he's not really... it happens, you know. If he'd had the French one, it wouldn't have died there, because it's faster. So he would have got behind that smoke cloud for the same price. So, Harriers and Nighthawk? No, okay. Because the jet's down. Because it's been 4 minutes or whatever. It's been a lot more than 4 minutes. Oh, the jet's back up. Oh, so that's the issue with the Harriers, right? I would just abandon ship. Admittedly, he could get a nice kill there, but he's not actually giving it a... He's just... Everybody's dying to the Eyehawks. There's 3 Eyehawks. And then the Seed, which does absolutely nothing against this division anyway. But yeah, so now he needs to pull this supply back, or pull this one forwards, because this is going to run out of rockets, and then he should just go land here. Or he can use the gun, yeah. So, yeah, just a crucial... I mean, it really is just practice. Because he'll obviously have realised, oh, where's my AA? Because now he's buying a bit. And it's just, you know, how to know beforehand is just play more. So losing that supply is a bit of a problem, because now he can't resupply his Hog bullets, and I suppose he could go back here. And yeah, once your Eyehawks shoot, you want them to move. And this needs to be getting closer with every volley, and this should be next to that if you don't want to send it over here. That's probably dead though, so I guess this is going to mid now. And yeah, so between volleys when it's reloading, it reloads on the move. It's obviously dumb, but... So it should be getting closer, because the closer it is, the shorter the disperse. Because that's the reason this survived. It's because this circle's so big that it just missed. So, yeah. So yeah, the smoke, right, he could be smoking more to cover his guys from all this stuff that's killing him. I like the idea though, and the Hellam's probably just going to immediately die to these, because there's no AA. So he should have waited for the PIVADS to get there. Admittedly, he probably bought this after he bought the PIVADS. It's just, you know, PIVADS is slower. Being not a helicopter and all. This used to be radar. It used to be pretty good, but they made it non-radar because it's not a proper radar. It literally does have a radar. It's just not a proper radar. This is just a satellite dish for Sky TV, that's what that is. So we can watch the footy, you know. British division and all. So the Pissy B, if he had HP, would be great to put there and, you know, side shot, but he needs to send this up to help it. And if he uses the road, this will probably kill it, so he has to send it off-road. Yeah. Oh, that was a good side shot. He got a crit as well. And then it missed. Even though it's got less accuracy. But as you can see, even though it fired second, it gets 2 shots off because the chieftains suck balls. It's very sad. But they don't buff them, because then first UK would be OP, and then there's like, you know, drowning person emoji with the 4th UK player. That's got to reverse right now. He's relying on the power of friendship. Okay. Clearly I don't know anything. And yeah, you see, the PIVADS are pretty cool actually still, because the price went down. Basically, if it's got radar, the aim time is lower. I can't remember if it's 1 second. It's 1 second instead of 2, which of course makes it way better. And the range, I think, went down, although I might be wrong on that. So yeah, it used to be a lot cooler, sadly. Because now it's very similar to the CS, which 8th also gets, which is the PIVADS without the radar. But now the PIVADS doesn't have the radar either. Sky TV, remember. So, good counter battery attempt, might get the CV. Nah, it just stems from the fact that, oh, he has moved it up. But at some point you want to buy the second one, and then you hit it with both at once, and then it really messes people up. I should do a guide on how to use heavy howitzers, because like I say these things every time, and it'd be nice to just chuck a video at somebody. There's lots of things like that. I try not to be lazy, but it's just that there's... it's like economics, right? You want to be miserable, learn economics. It's all about opportunity cost, and you know what they say, comparison is the thief of joy. Well, economists are miserable people, let me tell you. So the light rifle should be running away. Admittedly, the Rangers, being at 2 vet and Special Forces and higher cohesion, would catch up. And you see, you know, the PIVADS do kind of exact their toll, slowly but surely, if you fly over them. Chieftain could use a little bit of heals. Honestly, what he should do is heal this up with this. Get another infantry in here. Our Berlin rifles would be perfect. You've got the smoke mortars, so you smoke this, run in. Or you can just run in, because there's actually nobody watching, but you get a Law 80 in here, this guy's dead, so... So you see the CEV does like no damage to the tank, but it lowers its cohesion, which is important, because now it's got to go back. Admittedly, the Milan 2 did that a bit more. Right, this is a higher number, but something to do with the way it works compared to armor and so on. Very risky unloading it like that. Need some engineers flash as well, and some more supply. So there's the supply. There's the... he's bought 2 CVs. Well, oh no, it's because he forgot about this one. I suppose if Blue gets a CV back in here, that would be useful, but... yeah, that's one of the purposes of buying the 2 cheap CVs, is that one of them goes to the contested zone and the other one goes to your arty. The third priority is the AA, so you put it next to your IHawks, if you've got, you know, so zones, arty, AA. Because up there the AA gives it 5% more accuracy, so it's not a huge deal, but it can, you know, if you're not doing anything with that CV, it makes sense. But yeah, I mean... the 8th player's kind of just winning the trades, and so, admittedly, the units that his opponent's buying are very expensive, but he's winning the trades, and that means this blob's just getting bigger and bigger. But yeah, he really needs a somebody in here. It would really help. And like, okay, so that's been spotted, so you bring the CEV over and just twat it. You gotta move this now. Move this up to the hill, right? But yeah, we have perfect vision, so... oh, what's he doing? He's misclicked. He's just fast moving towards the enemy now. Why is he doing that? Well, he's dead. He's gonna get sideshot by an Abrams now. Wow. That was, wow. So did this engage that? No, it's got... well, I suppose it could have resupplied. But yeah, he's trying to... because you get it to there, it's gonna... you guys dying, mate. What? Okay. I suppose the MP5s beat the Colt, whatever the hell that LRS has. He's out of LRS, so we can't check. I believe it's a Colt submachine gun, like it's not a full-powered rifle, it's a carbine, which in this game just gets SMG range, which is obviously nonsense, but there it is. So yeah, admittedly, Berlin Command has a nice time in mid. And in the forests is not so bad. But, like, basically, the 8th US player gets similar things to Berlin Command. He doesn't get the light rifles recoilless, but he gets Ranger Special Forces for the forest, he gets Flash for the forest, he gets the CEVs for anti-infantry. And then he also gets IHawks and heavy artillery, so you'd expect the 8th player to win, really. And better helicopters, which are probably all dead now. So, CV's in, he's got some supply. Just needs to be in the right place. But yeah, imagine if he had a lore 80 guy anywhere around here. Wouldn't that be great? Because this is going to do nothing to that. Unless it gets another side shot. Right, we've been wrong basically every time today, so... Oh no, it's facing the right way now. Wow. So yeah, having the 3 machine guns makes it pretty nice against infantry. And the normal M1 gets that as well. So yeah, the normal M1 used to be a lot cheaper, but it used to have different stats actually. It used to have like a less range gun, because it's actually a lower caliber gun. So is he going to smoke, or is he going to eat a toad too? Chooses the latter option. Yeah, it's looking pretty good for red now. Yeah, like the tanks without... So this is the advantage of the smoke. It really just messes people up. Because they're like, okay, well now I gotta fly through the smoke or just let the enemy get in my zone, and so they come through the smoke and then you kill them, and you know, their supporting assets aren't in there. You're basically just changing the map, right? You're adding cover where it didn't used to be there. And that's why people hate it so much, because it forces the defending player to attack, basically. He can't just sit on his arse. So... Hell, I'm probably going to go down. That's not worth it, because there's so much here. Admittedly, there were PIVADS. Right. Yeah, but that's really lucky that didn't just die there. 70% accuracy missile. So yeah, the smoke, he's doing his best, right? But, you know, you need a smoke here, basically, at all times. And then you can put the other one wherever you want. Like, you're getting shot from here, but you need to sort this out, man. You're just getting shot in the side, so... Get a lore AT. Heal this guy up. He's been like that for ages. And then you don't need the lore AT. And then you just send both of these in there, fully healed, to sort him out. So now this CV is going to be useful, and this CV, right? There's another thing to... Remember, this has bombs on it. Thankfully, it's got 40% ECM, so it doesn't get hit. But there are 3 Eyehawks, so... So, this is... Yes, great, good. Although he's going to die. I think it's in the... I think he's going to make it, right? But, like, where is the range taken? Because he's at the back of a long building, so is the range just taken from the middle of the building and he still killed it, or what? But yeah, don't forget about your RTCV, because that would obviously just get there immediately, right? And then you can put this next to the RT, because you got to think priorities. What's your priority? The zone is the priority over RT reload time. So if you lose a bit of RT reload time to get in the zone faster, that's fine. So will PERORO notice that the CV is just walking past him? Given the way this game has been going, I don't think he will. But will it actually just be in range anyway? Because when it's in a building, it kind of... Nah. If he was in this one, he'd get him, but... He's noticed! Will he get there in time? Oh, will he get there in time? Chieftain more important, apparently. Maybe it was out of range. Oh. Well, he should have fired the last one. Just go into that building. Pop in, shoot him, pop back out. Well, there goes that RTCV. This is why you got to move between your volleys, but... If there were 2 of these, obviously that would be dead, right? So it's got less than half HP. But admittedly, he's got a bit of a frontline problem. Can't afford to buy RT right now. That's also a smart thing to do. But yeah, it's a shame he didn't... If he goes to here, he can see that. And then he can just... You see it pop back out. Hit it with the RT. But yeah, +1 to red. It's getting the Minstrel up now for the Blackhawk. Blackhawks are so useful. Finally dealing with this, sort of, but he's still not healed this guy. The Sec is dead. Don't know where he went. The Afterlife, presumably. He knows about this. Presumably because it's shooting at him. PIVADS are great against helos if you get in range, because the Spag in general is good against helos, but the issue, of course, is the range. The missile AA tends to have better range, so... The Spag is like an ambush unit, kind of like an LOS. You know, if you break the LOS and get in there, you can just hose him. Because the missile can just miss, and then the helo can just kill you. Whereas the Spag stands for self-propelled anti-air gun, if you're wondering. I'm sure most of you know that. This is not ideal. You want to spread out a bit. He does, however, have the military police with them, which is great. And the idea is that the Berlin command gets shot by the tank, and then you shoot the tank with your tank and your Milans. Right. Admittedly, if this tried to move, it would get shot. So, yeah, Red basically just needs to take this, and this would basically solve all of his problems, because then he'd see most of this, and they'd end up in this little forest here, and you can sortie that or bomb it or whatever. You know, if he had this, then he can... There's fewer places to put the CV. Admittedly, he's killed that anyway. Have you noticed he's not bought a Nighthawk in the whole game? And that's because he can't. There's 3 Eyehawks and a fighter there, so that's smart, right? You don't have to buy it. I was playing against a guy playing 101st Airborne. I was 2nd UK. And he was like, oh, your div counters mine because of the SAS kills all my helicopters. I was like, yeah, okay, well, you know you don't have to buy the helos, right? You get other units, you get a bunch of tanks, you're an armoured division for whatever reason. So... This is the issue with the smoke, right? This is the power of the smoke. It forces your enemy to make mistakes. But really, what he should be doing is just get the RT on these, because they're not moving. We've got less than 1 top armor, and 8 HP, so they would go down. Unless you get unlucky, right? Oh, I can hear it! 25-minute Eyehawk. So the seed comes out, and it does nothing. Oh, it actually got one. Abrams CV went down to something. The Nighthawk's like, well, I can't go there. There's been a fighter up the whole game, so PERORO has done a good job of stopping the enemy Nighthawk. Unfortunately, he is lost on the ground as a result of that. The overbuying of Eyehawks. He really only needed 1 and the fighter. But, you know, and then like later on you get 2, but he had 3. And that just means you've got fewer ground units, so there's a lot to remember, a lot to keep in mind. A lot of it is about what you can see and what you can't see, and just like pure practice. If you play 3,000 hours Warno, you start to get like a spidey sense of what's going to happen. It sounds dumb, but it's true. So, evac immediately, evac immediately. Oh, he's flying over the Eyehawk. He's dead. What? There was a fighter here, what happened to it? This was out of ammo. Alright, he's alive. We'll see him in about 8 minutes. Bit of an oopsie there. Is he gonna notice? He is not noticing! Okay, he noticed. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen a couple more. He's got a CEV, he's just not using it. So that's the other thing, that in armoured fights it actually helps a lot. Because of the, now you gotta move, right? It helps a lot because of the suppression of the armoured unit. And you just kind of put it in front of your Abrams or whatever. Admittedly, it's slower. And if this takes the first shot from the enemy Abrams, great. Because who cares? You know, this is 80 points and it wasn't going to do much except suppress him anyway, which it can still do. And then you kill him with your own tanks and whatnot. And yeah, there you go, Sapper's Flam. Admittedly, so Flash beats Flam because the Flash aims faster and shoots faster. And both of these things can only shoot when they're stood still. So, same with satchels. Satchels need to be stood still. The advantage of satchels is you can chuck a bunch of smoke at people and just jump into the building and kill them. So, MrBoxHead, rank 134 with 31 games. So, that's very impressive actually for such a small number of games. You must watch Hippie YouTube videos. And then PERORO-san, rank 165 with 80 games. And not that many total games either. actually fewer total games, so they must both watch. I thought it was actually the standard of play there wasn't really so bad. I know I do nothing but complain, but it was actually, considering the guy didn't open with any CVs, so one tag CV. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you around. GG.